Well, good morning, Glue Troopers. Max's Models here. So I got up this morning. I was like, oh, I don't think I have anything to do a video on. So I just sat down with my coffee and the book Arrow Through the Heart with Crawford Gordon, which I'm already 31 pages into. And then I realized that Mike Machat had a new video on DC-8s, and having ridden on DC-8s a couple of times, I was like, oh, well, this should be good, and it was. If you're an aviophile, I recommend you go out and watch that. And the thing I remember about riding on DC-8s, I flew on one, I believe, a 63 and later a 73 that belonged to Delta. I was amazed about how long they were. And anyway, I have a DC-8 that the guys at Atlantis gave me, and I was thinking, that might do a good comparison build. I mean, they're both Atlantis kits, a DC-8 versus the 707, but I've got so much on the table right now, it'll be a little while before I can get to that. Speaking of which, I realized the plastic stock that I got was way too thin to make the rear box for Patton's Pyro Wagon, so I'm going to have to either get some of that Plastistruct or something like that. It's going to be thicker and more solid, so I need to hustle and find some of that because the end of the month is approaching, and I am on potential call out for the next few days. Even though I'm technically off, they can call me to come in to fly. But anywho, I was sitting here reading the book on Crawford Gordon, who is, to put it mildly, a complex and controversial character. And his story is completely intertwined with the CF-105 Arrow. And again, need this backstory so I can do my massive deep dive whenever I'm done reading all these great books that were sent to me on the Arrow project. But you get up in the morning sometimes and you think, what, because, this whole, especially the morning videos are basically just a stream of consciousness thing. And you think, what am I going to do a video today? Oh, I'll never think of anything. And then between emails and stuff that pops up in YouTube and the books that I'm reading and the problems I'm having with various kits, there's always plenty of things to talk about. That just have to have a little coffee and get my telepathic daily download from the cat. And then the next thing you know, these are things I have to talk about, and we're off and running. And one final point that I was going to cover was that one Glue Trooper who used to fly F-111s sent me a picture and told me something I didn't realize. Now, maybe I knew this, but I don't think I did. I always thought of the F-111 as a bomber because when I was in the Army, that was the role it was used for. That's what it was famous for in Vietnam. And that famous comment by a Navy admiral early in the F-111's development, when it was still the TFX, that all the power in Christendom could not make a fighter out of that airplane. But it actually could carry offensive missiles like Sidewinders, and it had a GAT pack, which could replace a bay door, and carried a minigun, or excuse me, a Vulcan Gatling gun. And here's a picture that he sent me from an article on it. I did not realize there was a gun mount for the F-111. I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but somehow that had gotten past me. That'd be an interesting thing to model for any of you big jet model builders out there. Well, that's all I got for now. Time to start getting ready for the day. Lots of building to do, and me and the missus have many, many errands to run. So take care of yourselves, and as always, model on.